Move over, Oscar so white. We got a new diversity problem with award shows right now. Monday, it was announced that NBC wouldn't air the Golden Globes in 2022. Now, it took a little bit of research. You do have to do some reading to really understand the extent of this story. But it all circumvents back to an organization that is known as the HFPA, another alphabet soup acronym in this country. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. I keep wanting to say Foreign Policy Association, so correct me if I stumble. But the Hollywood Foreign Press Association's problems really are the root of this Golden Globes controversy and NBC's decision to dump it next year. It's the HFPA's accusations of lack of meaningful change and growth as the reason for NBC nixing the Golden Globes. And NBC is not the first either. It's not the first major network / studio to cut ties, at least temporarily, with the HFPA. Netflix, Amazon, and Warner have all cut ties with them as well. And the hope is really for the Golden Globes to return to NBC following significant reform of the HFPA. So essentially what has happened is that it's come out and correct me if I'm getting this wrong too, Dom, because I know you read similar literature to myself on this, but there's a handful of discrepancies with the HFPA. For starters, there was a big revelatory piece about how 80 of the 87 voting members on the HFPA committee, none of them are black. None of them are people of color in that respect.
The foreign press, and none of them are black.
I was just going to say, which is problematic for something that was called Foreign Press Association. And it also comes back to, in 2020, the HFPA was criticized pretty heavily for nominating Asian / Asian American movies like The Farewell, Parasite, and Minari for best foreign language film as opposed to best picture. And it's really offensive for Minari because Minari had an exclusively American production team.
Yeah.
So it's especially offensive for Minari in that
Parasite
too.
And with the Oscars, good on the Oscars for getting something right over the Golden Globes, but yeah, just riding off the coattails of or rather, in the wake of Parasite's, triumph, Golden Globes didn't quite get the call, didn't quite get the hint on that.
Yeah, for sure. And the Oscars are just jumping for joy. It's like, we screwed up best actor, but not look at them. Look at what they're doing. I mean, right now, really the timeline for this is kind of murky, but apparently now the HFPA is scrambling to recruit and reform, recruit black members over the next 18 months, which is kind of the timetable they've laid out for themselves here. Because this is going to be big. If there's no Golden Globes next year, and I'm just going to say this, I don't know if I'm going to dive into the racial implications. There's a lot of places you can go for that discourse, and I don't see myself as somebody who's an expert nor a very good purveyor of that information at all times. So I'm going to kind of, Dom, you could take it however you want in a second. This is how I'm going to read the story. There's plenty of people that'll give you the racial implications of this. I don't see myself as that voice per se. But I feel like this ultimately, though, is just another blow to award shows, for better or for worse. I don't care where you stand on it personally. I only watch the Oscars. You can tell I'm not very versed in the Golden Globes as is. But this is, if there's no Golden Globes in 2022, and people will see that life ultimately goes on, and we don't need a committee, and we don't need a high dollar, highfalutin, champagne taste committee to tell us what movies and what TV shows to support and what actors to like and who to listen to.
Yeah.
Especially the Globes. Like if people see that ultimately life rolls on without award shows, I don't see how they can come back really with a bang, already coming off a record low year. We thought the Oscars were bad, ratings were bad, and they really were. But I read too, the Golden Globes were down 62% as opposed to the Oscars 58%. They were down to about 6.9 million viewers, which is paltry for the Golden Globes. I mean, I remember growing up, the Golden Globes were huge. They were absolutely huge. They always seemed a little bit more, I guess they always seemed a little bit more accessible than the Oscars, because the Oscars always seemed a little stuffier.
If it's going to be an award show, I'd rather have that personally.
And it's TV. It's also, they factor in TV with the Globes too, which the Oscars
that's like the one
do.
thing it really has.
Yeah. So that's where I see this. I'll say it too. It's like, this is not a good time to be an award show. This is not a very good time to be an award show of any capacity too. The Tonys, the Golden Globes, the Oscars, the CMAs, the ACMs. I'm also a country music radio DJ. That's why I know the country music award shows. But like even those are all in the tank as well. So it's not a good time to be an award show, and it's even worse to have a big association like the Hollywood Foreign Press Association scarred and branded with the label of like, racially insensitive makeup of their own committee. Dom, what say you on the matter?
Yeah, it's a kind of a mess. The HFPA, which no one really recognizes unless you're really in that circle. I mean, now everyone's talking about it, but other than that, no one really talked about the HFPA. Everyone talks about the Motion Picture Academy of Arts and Sciences, because that's the Oscars, which is the most prestigious between the two, at least between the two, Oscars and Golden Globes. Oscars is definitely more prestigious. Even that's like waning these days or whatever. But even then, that just goes to show you where the Golden Globes really is. Let me just add on top of everything you were saying about with a lot of its issues of race and like representation. Yeah, none of its members are black. Or on top of that, former HFPA president faces a backlash over email calling Black Lives Matter a hate movement. This one's behind a paywall, but I'm showing it right now on the screen. There's actually beyond its issues of race and representation. There's a lot of scandal, a big bombshell expose by the LA Times, again behind a paywall. I apologize, but big expose by the LA Times about how like it's run as a tax exempt organization, where it's like, okay, so 87 members paid in excess of $1 million and they get they're a tax exempt nonprofit organization. A lot of their members are not journalists at all, and that they reportedly by the LA Times, refuse and like deny like reputable journalists to join their ranks to like improve essentially, but they're saying no to
just
that.
Keeps getting better.
Yeah, exactly. And there's problems about voting and a lot of things about self-interest. And like, I encourage you to read because obviously everyone pays for journalism, so of course you can access that. I certainly didn't access that by any other means, but I encourage you to go read that, because it's the surface level. And I don't mean to say that issues of race and representation are surface level, but rather what is on the surface for everyone right now, what's on blast, is the very legitimate issues of the lack of representation. Not one single black person on the board, or rather in the HFPA. And it's called the Foreign Press Association. Like, are you kidding me? Not one, not just the one token, not one token.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
You can't even do that. But beyond that as well, a lot of institutional, like regular white collar corporate crap there that is festering underneath as well. So yeah, the HFPA has got a lot of problems going on with it. And so, tying it back to the whole drama about will there be a Golden Globes, or at least there will be no Golden Globes on NBC. Yeah, it kind of caught me by surprise, but if you really think about it, yeah, everyone's cutting ties left and right. Do we need a Golden Globes? In my opinion, of the big four, the EGOT, right? Emmys, Oscars, Golden Globes, and Tonys, right? Did I right?
EGOT, I think you got it. I think you got them.
I personally think the Golden Globes are at the very least, they feel the less prestigious, which sucks because television, we're like in the golden age of television, dude, right? We're in a post Breaking Bad world. We're in a post Sopranos world. You would think, the Golden Globes would really hearken to that, but I don't know. I feel like this is a hot take, but I feel like because it includes so much, it feels like so much like movies and things like that as well. It kind of feels bloated. I don't know if you would agree with that statement, but just the fact that it kind of diffuses its focus as opposed to Oscars, just movies, Tonys, musicals. Here's the highlight of the year for Broadway and musicals. Same thing with, oh my gosh, music. Grammys. Thank you. Grammys.
Oh, Grammys.
I'm sorry. Emmys, Oscars, Grammys, Tonys. I said Golden Globes and Emmys.
Okay.
Sorry. My bad.